Okay, so there's a lot to be had in this new update of the 4.4.1.20 that Nvidia warns users in an update as a handful of vulnerabilities have been uncovered, as we are going to uncover the news and do some benchmarks. As you can see right now, I am doing the old 4.4.1.12 underneath here, as we are going to also be testing to see if there's any performance reductions and or increases as they tune this vulnerability, as we all uncover what this means for us as Nvidia card users in this driver update. As of yesterday, Nvidia released the graphics driver that we are going to be testing in the components for the Star Wars Jedi, as we recommended the update of the over the 4.4.1.12, which you already have as the latest security update. Now, a noteworthy situation that we have here for as far as the graphics update, before we dive directly into the Reddit post of what we have for changes that's going down here, is that on the 18th that we will be looking at more for the Quadro and the Tesla cars. A fix is coming directly for the November rollouts of updates that will hopefully be giving a little bit more of the renditionable point of what they can immediately have in the situationable point of being able to fix some of the older driver packages. So hopefully, if you're not fixing this wave and you have a Quadro, you'll be fixing another wave of updates, hopefully within the next 5 days, give or take, that I'll be trying to pay attention to, as the weekly rollouts seem to be pretty heavy for Nvidia this month. As you can find the humor in this situation as they're going, "We're sorry," as in a South Park episode, let's go ahead and jump into a new round of situationable points of updates. With one of the big talks that was coming into yesterday and today's news as we come into the last 24 hours to 48 hours that's been afflicted by a lot of PCs, was one of the worst launches of Red Dead's launcher, accompanied with the new Red Dead port over of RDR2. Now, people have been seeking out a lot of information in order how to fix this, and if you haven't already subscribed to Gaming Nexus, Steve is a great creator, and I would suggest so. He's been doing a lot of like fixes for the PC realm, as where I've gotten more of the network and the console realm. But it would be nice to learn some of these too. He's been just shooting out a lot of great content for as far as that goes and rolls into gameplay. But Rockstar, on top of that, also gave us a very solid apology, saying that they're going to be fixing a lot of this stuff, and this article will be linked down below. One thing to point out that is a little noteworthy on the direct portion of this is that it said that the afflicted drivers are the reasons why a lot of people are having issues with Red Dead, and the certain I guess not too much CPUs, depending on if you have an AMD. I heard some AMD processors had some issues, but mainly the GPUs that are having the issues and the afflicted portion of it. So Nvidia is aware of that, and they are going to be fine-tuning it with Rockstar, as they have been aware of that, and Grand Theft Auto, that it's going to be making the list, as we'll be seeing the direct patch notes coming up as we finish this last test. Okay, and our score comes into a roundabout, as we have our old scores directly lined up, and I just picked and select 3 scores with the browser open so we can have a little bit of a tiny bit of bloatware out there, so it's kind of more normal to a lot of people having inside the situation. They have a few tabs. Now these tabs obviously are the patch notes that I have directly that linked into what we're going to be diving into, but as we can see in the comparable scores as we go over here and we hit this situation, I don't know what's going on with the results in the side of 3D benchmarks. It seems like they're kind of transitioning over, but you can kind of see that we have the 3 Port Royale for the ray tracing, Time Spy for the DirectX 12, and the Firestrike Ultra for your extreme portion of the DirectX 11. So, going down into those 3 scores, you can kind of see. Now, lining up a Time Spy versus Time Spy in the direct comparison as we go down to what we used to have, you can see that it's almost about 200, give or take. And this is just like from standard portion to standard portion, where the last test rolled out. So it's like the stabilization has gone inside of there, as they directly like to update their UI sometimes with their interface of the way that they update. It's crazy. Like, you'll see their interface of the GeForce Extreme, like, pull-up tab, and that will get its own update sometimes. So And sometimes 3D Mark will also update into accompany better drivers in order to make it drive. So this is another reason why I go back to back on the testing. As you can kind of see right here, is there is a noticeable difference between the last driver. Now looking at the Port Royale test, it's kind of be a little bit more buried underneath there. But yet again, we kind of see a little bit of more of an increasement as the 910. And this is even again is with the browser open with our patch notes, as you can kind of see right here directly. So. And with another one, this is not really counted for, is what we're looking in the browser of the Internet Explorer, which is usually not utilized at all, so it's very fast sometimes. But looking at our Firestrike Ultra test is like more likely going to see a little bit more of our increasements inside of there. So let's go ahead and scroll down until we see our Firestrike Ultra with our Nvidia card. And you can kind of see that, bam, there is not too much extremeness in that situation. You can actually see there's a little bit of a rollback, so it does come with its DirectX issues sometimes. But kind of promising things. Those are kind of increasements you can kind of see across the board. But let's go ahead and install our new update. As you can see right here, we pull up the tab, and that's going to directly go inside of the situation of it loading out inside of there. Now, there's great things you can pull up inside of this, but this is not the tab we want. As you can see down below here, you want the experience, not the control panel. Just make sure you gotta get that. You can go ahead and hit the download. It'll directly situationally be able to just truck through the download really fast. Mine's not too bad. I have a really good internet connection when it comes down to those situations for installation. But let's go ahead and fall into what the news is as this is updating, and we have the both comparisons of what you guys and gals can do for updating your stuff. Alright, so as the situation comes into play, and I'm installing the background of what our update is going to be, excuse me for a little bit as that gets into gameplay. Shouldn't be too bad. So the 44120 has been released, and inside of that situation, it has been ready for the update of the Fallen Order of the Jedi, which is going to be a really interesting update personally myself. You can kind of see that we're going to have a lot of fun gameplay as we kind of get down to the portion of what we also fixed into was RDR2 with the HDR and the LG C9 TVs and the CSGO performance issues in the CPU limited scenarios. As going down to the situation of what the featured fixes in the drivers of the 441.20, the Game Ready experience is now providing the latest performance in the optimization in the profile and the bugs fixes to the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order in addition to the releases, and provides the optimal support for the new VR title Stormlands. Now, is on top of that situation as the new G-Sync compatibility monitors, and the list of the G-Sync compatibility increases to the nearly 60 option with the additional Acer XB273U and the Acer XV273U. On top of the Asus, the VG259Q monitors, the application performance profiles adds or updates the following performance for Star Wars yet again, as it makes it inside the list. New features as it supports inside the CUDA 10.2. Now, this is an interesting situation for myself. What is that going to mean? Is that going to give us a little Spitfire performance or Spitfire development inside of CUDA cores inside of that? Who knows as we get into like that situational gameplay. Now going down to what the game ready fixes are, what a lot of people are going to be situationally wondering what is going on for as far as driver to driver. Now, as I already have the update installed, let's go ahead and dive over a little bit to where our situation is going inside of the news. But our install is right there. So let's go ahead and pop open a new test with the new installation running and see what we end up scoring on some tests as well. As that test loads up, we're back to the news and what we're seeing inside of the general fixes. As we see inside of Red Dead Redemption 2, the Vulcan Maxwell GPU, the geometry corruption occurs inside of the Maxwell GPU within the 2744709, as well as Red Dead Redemption inside of the Vulcan G-Sync, as it's disabling VSync on the game, which will help with the code of the 2740479. Inside of the Surge Vulcan error and the device loss when utilizing the driver 440.97, you will utilize the error of the 2739146. as you can already go into newer standpoints, this update will hopefully fix a lot of those. Definitely dream comment down below as you can actually make that dream a reality, and leave a comment as what you're experiencing. Who knows, maybe this fixed for you, maybe it didn't fix for you, but so far this is seeming like a very good update to install for a lot of people that have been having issues. On top of Quake Arena and the colors becoming washed out in the 16-bit colors in the 273867 code, the HDR black palette levels are on the gray and the LG OLED 55C9, the 27387008. CSGO and the gaming performance drops inside of certain CPU limitations inside of the cases in the 2682973 code. On top of that situation, inside of the important issues that are coming into gameplay, as this Vulcan comes into the situation and will unfold, the full list of the open issues, please check out the notes down below, as we are right now. Red Dead makes the list yet again, with the Vulcan benchmarks may crash when the Vulcan mode is in SLI mode, enabling the ultra graphics setting, with the 200, 565, 367 code popping up for this situation inside of that. This is an open issue that they are still getting into, so for most of my brothers and sisters out there that are running those dual GPUs, they are working on that. As it goes down to gameplay in the Forza 4 and the low streaming bandwidth, an error occur may be extended gameplay for the 2750515 code. Forza Motorsport 7 makes the list as the game list starts and shuttering in the gameplay of the 2750611 code. Gears 5 randomly stabilized and issues may occur within the 263022 code, and the Grand Theft Auto 5 making the list yet again as they're still working towards a fix within the last 4 patches, give or take, and the game frequency crashes. Nvidia is working with the application developer to resolve this, i.e. Rockstar, in order to fix stuff for Red Dead on top of Grand Theft Auto. So for most people that are experiencing this stuff inside of that, and their apology wasn't good enough for what was going down with the I'm sorry situation, this will hopefully fix a little bit, but may not fix a lot of it as we go into the situational gameplay of what we have. Now, as my computer is kind of doing its test and having a fun time, news inside of the tech world is getting huge, with the introduction of the STRX being the throne of CPUs. It's going to be surreal to think that we're going to be seeing a standard of 24 to 32, and the rumored, which is already pretty much already rock solid from what I've been hearing from the rumors of like Red Gaming Tech and other gaming, I guess, channels and the situational points of seeing what we are going to see in gameplay of this new workstation. On top of that, the TRX 40 will be getting an accompanying port of the TRX 80, which more than likely will be more of a top tier portion of the Threadripper line, with more of an 8 memory bandwidth channel, I would assume, in order for all that lovely situation to occur. But I'm excited to see what's going to happen between that, because the die space inside of there is really not limited. It actually does have a lot of room to breathe, and they make it really right. So their throne will be secured for probably at least till 2022, until Intel can kind of steal the throne back with a nice, more heavier portion, with hopefully some new 7 nmm power crap. Like, hopefully. It'd be really kind of cool to see. But as we're looking inside of my results, as we're looking from test to test, as we can see our comparison for our Time Spy, which will be our DirectX 12, you can see that there's a tiny bit of a decrease. Not bad if this is a secure update that they're giving us, and there's fixes for the following games that people have been able to find. This is actually pretty good. But let's go ahead and get to another test, shall we? With tech talk on the horizon, as we kind of see the ray tracing field of Ampere coming into play, as we'll start off with more than likely their breaking in between the situation, because they're going to want to utilize the more recent push of what they've actually been able to do in certain cards, as we kind of see their technology not wanting to be rushed too much. Nvidia has never really been a company to want to throw out wafers like frisbees. They've been more of a refined divine, as they start more in the line of the early portion of next year, probably first quarter of probably March, if not February, of Ampere's release, and we'll probably get 3080 and 3080 Ti being across the situationable point of the release date, and as you get to the 70, 60, and the super variations being filled in later on down the road, as they normally always do inside of a situationable rollout inside of their technology. Now, personally, I can kind of dig that as they kind of get into it. I'll be one of those people that does buy into it. Who knows? Maybe I can hit them up and maybe they'll sponsor me, and that'll be kind of cool. At that point in time, I feel like I probably could. With doing the patch notes, maybe they might throw me a sponsor model. It'd be kind of cool. I would be more than willing to kind of see what this card does for the industry, as we see the doubling down on CUDA cores as well as tensor cores, as the ray tracing market becomes more developed, within game developers showcasing it past Control, and other games wanting to incorporate the shadowing in just a world of tanks of whirling down there. So now if we can see in our comparable test right over here in our online for our Port Royale, you can see that there is a noticeable drop. I can already notice it, as you can see in the standpoint, as we had almost like a 7,900 versus now we have a very low score of the 7,891. So not bad, 19, but still for a install of like a security, it is dropping a tiny bit. So let's go ahead and see what we can do for the next test. As we go into the Firestrike Ultra test and round about the very ending portion, we are going to be seeing a lot of cool stuff as we come into the 2020 era of the GPU portion of contending, because not on top of the 3080 and 3080 Ti possibly starting out within the first quarter of the year, we're going to be seeing a contending portion of more than likely the same portion in time, if not around summer, the 21 and 23 of the Nvidia killing series, on top of the emergence of 22 in the line, thanks to Red Gaming Tech and other fellow creators that have kind of chimed in with information on the situational point of news of going towards where we will be seeing contenders that will be very much on top of the same performance, if not toe-to-toe with it, surpassing it, possibly. So who knows? This is going to be a hardware-based, like, AMD card that's going to be coming out the gates. But let's see. They might be in different applications. Maybe the CL code may not be as strong, so maybe, yes, it might be really great for as far as the gaming application that they've been aiming for, but maybe the well-roundedness of an Nvidia card of going towards where their CL code is pretty good for the situation of like being able to do video editing very well. Rounded is not having to deal with issues here and there. So, as being a computer techie, I've noticed that both companies have their bells and whistles of what is great. But as we come into the tail end of this test, one of the situational points that we will be seeing towards this is hopefully fixes for Red Dead, fixes for another assorted amount of games as we listed down below, but mainly that's one of the biggest portions of what people are wondering is going down, as well as the security updates that you would actually be situationally being able to get into as you go into the gameplay of where you can go towards past the situations of what we will be experiencing. Now, as we come into gameplays and stutter frame rates and FPS drops, as you can see inside of Overwatch and other fast-driven, like turning-based games where people have been reporting from like the 40s to the 20s down to almost down to the 90s of like where it started at 144 FPS down to now also these extreme portions, but maybe the vulnerabilities where they had where the CUDA core locks were, it just wasn't experiencing where it was supposed to be. But let's go ahead and get back. With everything already being open in our situational point, we're going to compare our Firestrike Ultra test back to back. Now, I did notice that there was an increasement inside of that situation as we ran the test last time in the last update. Now, you can see the last consecutive ones, we did experience a little bit of a, well, not fair portion. Even with the bloatware on, there's not been too much portion of an increasements. But one of the things that I did directly on top of that was doing a quick reset. We come down to the tail end of a Port Royale test again, just to see if maybe that the reset is more than likely what needed. Before, I said that you're pretty much good to go when it comes down to gameplay right after. They're pretty steady for as far as the updates roll out an Nvidia's portion, but having a reset may give you a little bit of a tiny edge, as we are going to prove consistently that just resetting your computer after updating is pretty solid when it comes down to wanting to make sure you're getting the top tier performance that a lot of people are experiencing like issues with. Like sometimes just a quick reset and then wondering, oh wow, that's basically what ended up happening. And I've had that happen to me many times. But as we open this door, we get down to the Port Royale testing portion end. So, what will our score be? Higher or lower? That's the question. We shall answer towards the tail end of this update if it's pretty good. Now, Nvidia is basically telling us that we need to update this due to vulnerabilities that they have found. So, we're taking a hit, as we can kind of see across the board on certain portions. Now, as we look at the Port Royale, I'm still losing, even with a reset. In fact, I lost more. It was better when it was running on the, non-reset, as versus the Firestrike Ultra versus Firestrike Ultra with that reset. It was actually able to gain a tiny bit about to it. Now, looking back at where we had our point in time spy, as the increasements and decreasements going down to it, we saw a decreasement of roughly about, give or take about 40, almost 39 points into that situation. But this is going to be our patch notes. If you are new to the channel, you can definitely hit a like, share, and subscribe. And who knows, maybe I'll become a pixeled character in the next Firestrike Ultra Mac Edition. You'll just have to subscribe and find out. But all tech news aside, a lot of fun things are going to be coming out to the channel, to my channel, as well as what's going on in the tail end of November, which is the Theadripper series of AMD. I could talk for days with that, but you'll have to subscribe to find out what I'm going to be doing with the third generation, the 3000 series, the 7nm series, rather, of Theadripper, and how we'll overclock maybe 24, maybe 32 is what I'm aiming at cores? Huh? Anyways, everyone, have a very nice day, and I'll see you guys and gals in the near future for more tech-related information and updates for post and pre-qualifications to see if we are increasing or decreasing from update to update as they give us performance boosts. Alright, everyone, you have a very nice day. I did want to point out before I leave that I did have this direct release note tethered to the bottom too. For most people, everything is in the written description down below that you can tether your information needs to your heart's content. Have a very nice day and keep it classy, Internet. I'll see you guys and gals in the near future.